to their transfer through the transfer portal to their roster.
Locked On Bama, your daily podcast on the Alabama Crimson Tide. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back into Locked On Bama. Luke Robinson, that's me. Jimmy Stein, that's him. We're doing a very special episode, after-school special episode of Locked On Bama because Alabama just got another key, pun intended, component to next year's class and next year's roster in Jaylen Key, the transfer from UAB. Jimmy, I'm going to put his stats up here in a second while I let you rant about whether or not you think this is a positive move. I like it, but I'm not going to pretend like this is the missing piece to the national championship puzzle.
Right. It's definitely a positive move in the sense that here's what Alabama, there's want and need, right? Want is you would like an upgrade. You'd like to bring in players better than the ones you have and upgrade the starting lineup, upgrade the talent on the field. That's a want. Everyone's got that want. But you can also have needs. And Alabama had a need for depth, and Alabama's transfer portal losses have kind of been almost confined to that area, frankly, lately. As you know, Jacquez Robinson left, right before A-Day. He's gone to Colorado. Kyrie Jackson left last December. He's gone to Oregon. Tony Mitchell got arrested in March. Who knows what his situation is going to be? There's some positive momentum there, but until his legal situation is completely cleared up, we don't know about Tony Mitchell. That's another defensive back loss. So Alabama and Traquan Fagan's the last one. He left before spring practice concluded. He's now committed to USC. So with Alabama losing so many defensive backs, it was just sort of vital to start adding bodies. As a matter of fact, I believe we're down to 12 right before A-Day. 12. And on A-Day, hey, it's the twos and it's not the ones, but it's safety where Jaylen Key, the UAB transfer, is going to play. The second team safeties. So in other words, the starters defense were Jake Pope and Bray Hubbard. Bray Hubbard's a true freshman. Jake Pope, a redshirt freshman. They're starting with as twos just simply because of the lack of depth. So Jaylen Key, adding him, the UAB transfer, huge in terms of giving Alabama some more experience depth. Now, is he going to start? That's a great question. I'm really looking forward to what's going to be a really tough competition at safety, where Alabama is going to return Malachi Moore, who's one of the leaders on the team and the most experienced safety on the roster. Alabama is going to feature Caleb Downs, the true freshman from Georgia, who won a starting spot spring. Now, that's not permanent. He can be moved out of there. He could beat him out. Downs is, again, a true freshman who hasn't played. And then you also have Christian Story at safety, who hasn't played, but he's an older kid who's been in the program for more than 3 years. So for Jaylen Key to play, Luke, for him to earn a role in either regular or nickel or dime, he's going to have to beat out one of Malachi Moore, Caleb Downs, or Christian Story. Not to mention Devontae Smith, who missed the spring with injury. He returns at safety this fall. So the competition's going to be tough, but this was big for Alabama in the sense Alabama really needed a body, and the fact that he's an experienced player at the college level who was a starter at UAB last season, that's what's really helpful here.
Yeah, and I'm going to put his picture up again. Good-looking, strong, handsome specimen man. I mean, he looks like a safety to me. He's got sort of a Landon Collins-esque safety body to me.
If that was his UAB team picture, I can see why he chose.
Yeah, exactly. I am sort of over our recruits or commits or signees wearing the Nick Saban hat. I'm a little over that, but okay. It looks like he gave us out. He's going
to from a comment from Todd Tipton. I guess we're done the portal. That is correct. He will be the last portal addition for Alabama before the fall. Alabama now out of room. I'm told out of room. Now room could clear somehow, some way. but that's what I'm told. So yeah, this will be the last portal addition for Alabama.
Justin Woods says Malachi Moore will move back to star and Key will start at safety with downs. Now, you want to talk about something that would be interesting if our secondary was Malachi Moore, a brand new transfer from UAB, and a true freshman who, I mean, he should just about be graduating from high school right now, but he went through spring practice.
Yeah, Justin, I think that's very, very, very possible, and that's something that everyone should track. That could definitely happen. Malachi spent a good portion of this spring playing the star position in spring practice, and as we know, he's played it for 3 years at Alabama off and on, and was a true freshman starter at the star position. But if you do that, and they may, but when you do that, now Earl Little goes to the bench, and Earl was just fantastic all spring. There's no doubt Earl Little at some point is going to be a major player at Alabama. So if you do Malachi to star, then Earl Little goes to the bench, and that could happen for sure. It's just hard to imagine. Hey, but here's this: it's a good problem to have when you got a lot of good players that all sort of merit a shot to start, but you're not. But one or two deserving starters won't be able to. Problem to have. The bad problem to have is like when you're not really happy with anybody that's projected to be a starter. But that's not the situation now at DB for Alabama. I think the competition for the starting spots is outstanding, and now the depth is better. So mission accomplished.
Eric D says, can this secondary be elite and get turnovers like our previous secondaries? All right, I know this isn't the prettiest graphic, but please note that I took a picture from the ESPN stats on my phone and then transferred it to here. Had to make it from a HEIC file to a JPEG in about 10 seconds. That's pretty pathetic, but
Okay.
that's the best I can do. And at least I can do it. Jimmy couldn't even do it. So, but I'm looking at 2022 stats from Jaylen Key. He 60 total tackles, 41 solo. Hey, that's pretty good from the safety position. 19 assists, 1 sack, 2 forced fumbles, and 3 interceptions. Okay, that's what I want to see is the interceptions. I'm with Eric D on this. I'm anxious to get back to let's force a lot of turnovers again. I mean, that's why we used to destroy people. I mean, it's like a sure 7 points. Not only like in 2016 did we have like average a touchdown a game on defense, but if you give our offense, with several 5 stars on it and high 4 stars, if you give them a chance to score again, chances are they're going to do it. So I mean, it's going to lead to more blowouts. We've been so good at forcing turnovers in the past. I don't know exactly what the stats were last year. It feels like they weren't great. And when we did have a turnover, that was a big deal. Like against Tennessee, we get screwed on an official's call. But, that's just the way the ball bounces. Brian Green says Earl Little is a beast. I agree. Bill Dunn says, is this really a need for us? And Bill, I think it is. I mean, I do. Look. Again, it's sort of like the Tyler Buckner thing to me. Although, and I don't know that this is fair, I'm more excited about Jaylen Key than I am Tyler Buckner. How do you feel, Jimmy?
Similarly,
Okay.
Which is crazy. It's like how you compare this safety to this quarterback. Similarly, nothing wrong with adding him in the sense if you have the room, why not? If you have the room, why not? But in terms of whether this is a need, I think our fans should focus on, yes, there was a need. The need is for depth. The need was for depth. That is not to say we brought in Jaylen Key to sit on the bench. That's not it at all. You're adding another player to the competition for a starting spot, and the end result is going to be that you have more depth. So that's what the need is. And you're 2 sprained ankles away from having to put freshmen out there. Here's another good example. They added Amos at cornerback. Well, they say, well, you got Des Ricks. Well, Des Ricks is a true freshman. Trey Amos has been a starter. It's starting in college football. This adding Amos means, hey, now if you get a sprained ankle, you don't have to put a freshman out there. Now at safety, we don't have to put a freshman out there. So that's what this is all about. The need was the desperate need for depth. In terms of was Alabama okay with the guys projected to be the starters? Probably so. Probably.
And I think that's the key is probably. But I mean, Nick Saban wants to be sure about it. And I think that's why we got Key. I think that's why we got Amos. And I think that's why we got Buckner. So I'm excited. I feel really good about this pickup. And I feel much better about, I mean, honestly, this is not, there's no football analytics to this. I just do like the way he looks in that uniform. He looks like a Nick Saban safety. And his stats are better than I thought they were going to be. At UAB last year, I'll be honest, I hadn't paid a ton of attention to UAB at all, or him in general, until very recently. And when I first heard his name, I was like, do we really need to be taking dudes from UAB? And then I look at his stats; they're pretty good. And I look at our defensive backfield, and I think, man, I think we're super talented. I mean, Brian Green said Earl Little's a beast. I agree. I think he's going to be very good, but we don't know that. I mean, I can't stand guys who are like, well, we got all this depth because we got this guy, this guy, this guy, and that guy hadn't played yet. I mean, you don't know. I mean, we have seen some guys. We have seen some guys that we thought were going to be awesome come in and stink the joint up. So we don't know what is going to happen when the lights come on. So anyway, Jaylen Key commits. I think that's great. Jimmy, while I got you here for a second, I know you're about to go on Locked On Falcons and talk about DeMarco Hellams. So that podcast will be out on Locked On Falcons. And so you guys want to check that out because, of course, he was drafted by the Falcons. But speaking of the NFL schedule is out. I'm already thinking about some games to go to just because there's so many Alabama dudes I got to go see. I'm really thinking, Jimmy, I'm going to do the Alabama-Texas game and then go see Bryce Young in his first NFL game against the Atlanta Falcons the next day. That makes so much sense. And then my daughter, who's a big Tua fan, she lives in Ohio. She called and said, "Hey, look, let's go to a Miami game." And lo and behold, Carolina and Miami play each other in the middle of October. I'm thinking of making some tickets to that mother.
Wow, Carolina and Miami, huh? Wow, Tua versus Bryce. Hey,
that's the two best quarterbacks in Alabama history.
I love the fact that we have 70 guys and they're at all the positions, literally. But the fact that one of every 8 starting quarterbacks in the NFL is an Alabama player, one of every 8.
That's ridiculous.
That is shocking. And how fun when they play each other. And this NFL season, I'll always remember it as the year that we one out of every 8 was an Alabama guy. And that will be my focus also when the NFL season gets here. I'm pulling for the Eagles, the Patriots, the Panthers, and the Dolphins, all 4 of our quarterbacks. That's real fun. And hey, we went a couple of decades without a single one of them starting in the NFL. A couple of decades. As a matter of fact, more than 2 decades. So we would do this, and now it's raining from the heavens.
God help us all if it's Carolina against New England or Philadelphia against Miami or some combination like that in the Super Bowl, because that place will be bammered up like you wouldn't believe. They'll be tailgating and grilling and Nick Saban hats everywhere.
I'm not going to pencil in the Panthers to the Super Bowl just yet, but I hope it happens.
Well, you never know. I mean, nobody thought the Heat were going to make the Eastern Conference Finals, and they're on the precipice of that. So who knows? We'll see.
Okay.
Hey, everybody, thank y'all for tuning in. We appreciate it. We thought we'd just throw something together since Jaylen Key committed is a big deal. Hey, if you're watching and listening and do all that, be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. We thank you guys a ton. We really do. Go buy you some Built Bars. Go join you some FanDuel. Listen to SiriusXM. Locked On is associated with them now. And also, we have a new sponsor coming up, Bird Dogs. Man, I'm telling you, they're sending us some merch too, baby. So I can't wait. I need some new pants. I ripped a pair of pants the other day. What timing? It's like, thank you, Lord. It worked out great. So anywho, roll tide, everybody. We will talk to you very, very soon again. So roll tide.